Gonna do a little different today. A little more casual than usual. Gonna see how it goes. But let's get set up and try to do a nice chill one today. All right, let's see how it sounds. Sounds pretty good. All right, so today just want to do a nice chill little stream. I don't have anything really prepared out that much, but I think I'm just gonna try and talk, see what happens, and see how we do. Um, so Noided at night. Gonna go through a couple of stories with a little bit of like why we should be paranoid about them, and kind of talk about like what's going on in the world and why it's so weird and why we should be noided. Um, yeah. Welcome to Noided at Night on the Breezy Beat stream. So, at Noided at Night, we are a little chill. We try to talk about things from kind of a historical, paranoid perspective, but still a very much leftist and Marxist perspective. Materialism really is kind of the main thing that I wanted to make this about. Um, so I guess rather than just talk about it, let's just get into it. Make sure everything looks and sounds good. Oh wow, looks like YouTube is pretty far behind, but that's okay. All right, I am gonna keep an eye on chat over here, and this looks like it's good. Make this full screen so I can see. I am now. I like to have a Word doc so that way I have some place to work from. I started kind of working on a new a video essay earlier. I didn't really like how it came out because I couldn't figure out a way to make the microphone not be on camera. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to come back to that. But you know, streams work pretty well for now, especially because I can have the mic right here rather than trying to find weird placement for it that really just doesn't work very well. What day is today? Numlock. Oops. All right. I pulled this article up and I want to talk about it. It's pretty interesting and little odd. How's the lighting look? If you guys are having trouble seeing me, let me know and I'll try to add some more light. I think I have one that I can grab from downstairs that might make this look a little bit better, but we'll see. Okay, so FAA worker FAA workers threatened with firing if they impede Elon Musk's SpaceX federal deal. Report. Sounds interesting. A SpaceX operative has threatened Federal Aviation Administration employees with termination if they stand in the way of the agency won't work. Ah. If they stand in the way of the agency work by the company. A SpaceX. Let's just read that again. I don't know why I'm struggling so much. A SpaceX operative has threatened Federal Aviation. Wow, I am really struggling today with the words. But a SpaceX operative has threatened Federal Aviation Administration employees with termination if they stand in the way of agency work by the company, which could lead to a lucrative federal contract, according to a report. SpaceX engineer Ted Alaska last month instructed employees at the FAA headquarters in Washington, D.C. to immediately start work on a program to deploy thousands of the company's Starlink satellite terminals to support the National Airspace System. So, what this sounds like to me is it sounds like Elon has employees from one company trying to go into the FAA to like blackmail the other company. The main thing here that's kind of worrying is that it's like he's in the federal government. He has Doge and he has a lot of authority. So he's just doing this as basically an employee of the federal government. Really weird, really scary. Malaska, who works at Department of Government, of course, government efficiency volunteer, warned that FAA workers that anyone who impeded his work would be reported to Musk and risked losing their jobs. Malaska is a temporary special government employee and is working for Doge even as he retains his engineering job at Musk's SpaceX. So he's working for Doge and SpaceX, and it sounds like he's pressuring administration at the FAA as an employee of SpaceX. It doesn't seem like there's a conflict of interest here that the SpaceX employee is threatening the FAA so that way he can get them to not stand in the way of these lucrative government deals. Yeah, let's just keep going and then give them no benefit of the doubt. They suck. Musk has not been elected to a position, nor does he serve as one of President Donald Trump's cabinet members, nor has his work been authorized by Congress. So he is not a government employee. He is just some rando, basically, I guess. Except not a rando. He's a SpaceX employee who has an interest in getting more deals for SpaceX and looks like he's corrupt to say the least. Let's look up who this guy is. I'm kind of curious now. Ted Malaska, Director of Application Software, Crunchbase. Dir- has two current jobs as Director of Application Software, SpaceX, and Senior Director of Data Engineering at Capital One. So he's a SpaceX and a banking guy who works for Doge. Let's look at his LinkedIn too. University of Maryland, of course. That's kind of funny. It's a CIA connection. The FAA is modernizing the communications infrastructure, improving weather information distribution to pilots, and the ability for the FAA to monitor the system using Starlink. There we go. And a solution provided by at ATT and Mattel. We've upgraded the first automated weather observing system. The federal government currently has a $2.4 billion contract with Verizon to revamp the FAA that's now being sought by Musk for Starlink. The FAA is now reportedly close to canceling the Verizon deal to overhaul the system integral to supporting U.S. air traffic control and handing it to Musk's company. Oh, wow. So, this is just a way for them to wholesale buy our government and take over their infrastructure to privatize everything. This is not good. Bloomberg had noted that the administration officials are not sure how much SpaceX should receive for the dedicated work given the conflict of interest concern about Musk. It's unclear if the work by Musk's company has officially been authorized. It's not the first time Musk has been in this position. Since his political ascendance, thanks to his best buddy Trump, last month, a line item in a government spreadsheet stated that the State Department planned to appropriate $400 million for Tesla armored government vehicles. Musk quickly shut down rumors of an upcoming contract on X. I'm pretty sure Tesla isn't getting $400 million. No one mentioned it to me. At least he insisted. The word Tesla was quickly scrubbed from the line item, and a department official told NPR there are no plans to go with the deal. A person familiar with the deal said Tesla and the department had agreed to conduct research into armoring electric vehicles last year, but Tesla had not yet fully received the government funds. The discovery sent Tesla stock up 5%, only for it to drop back down after Musk denied that a contract was in the works. Interesting. Very interesting. Oops, not what I wanted to do. Hey, looks like we got two people now. Let's go. Let's check YouTube on. Looks like there's no one here on YouTube yet. But let's just give it some time. Glad y'all are here on Twitch though. Let's see. Musk worker pressures FAA Ted. What's his name? Malaska. Why does Trump look so smooth here? This is weird. I don't. Trump looks ridiculously smooth. Is he AI? Let's see. Politics. All right. If anyone feels like hopping in chat, anything sounds extra interesting to go over. I'm not sure what to cover tonight, but um, let's see. IRS files revenge after being ousted. All right, that sounds interesting. Elon cooked by this guy. IRS chief vows revenge after being ousted by Elon Musk's Doge. I'm just trying to do my goddamn job. Have no idea who they picked to fucking fight with. All right, this is coming to you from the New Republic. The ousted head of human resources at the IRS, Ted DiMartini, is vowing to fight back after she says she was fired. Ted? Where did I get Ted from? Let's just start that again. IRS chief vows revenge after being ousted by Elon Musk's Doge. I'm just trying to do my goddamn job. They have no idea who they picked to fucking fight with. The ousted head of human resources at the IRS, Tracy DiMartini, is vowing to fight back after she says she was fired for telling IRS employees that agency firings came from the Doge controlled Office of Personnel Management. DiMartini was placed on leave for the alleged ineffective management of the Trump administration's mass federal employee purge, as well as insubordination toward the Department of Government Efficiency. She says she was fired not only for telling IRS staff where firings were coming from, but also because she refused to call employees into the office over the weekend to onboard a Doge staffer after they were putting in 60 to 70-hour work weeks in the middle of tax season. So she sounds like she was just being a good boss. So with Elon being the person that he is, that hates unions and hates like the workers like you and I, this makes sense that he would want to lash out against her. But he picked a fight with someone who is actually willing to stand up against him. They're trying to politicize human capital, DiMartini told government executives. Let's go. They want to they want to be able to only hire loyalists, ignore Title V, and commit flagrant prohibited practices. When you look at the Merit Systems Protections Board and what the civil protections are, we're supposed to have a nonpartisan civil service, and we have been completely whipsawed, DiMartini told the publication that she doesn't plan to return to federal employment but will challenge her dismissal, saying she never faced discipline in 21 years of working in the government. It's my job to stand up to be the buffer between politicals and career employees, and I'm just trying to do my goddamn job. They have no idea who they picked to fucking fight with. This is what we need to do. We need to fight back. That being said, politicals, weird way of putting it, but whatever. Doge has already infiltrated the IRS seeking access to American taxpayers' personal data, and Trump even wants to get rid of the agency altogether. What? Seeking access to American taxpayer personal data, and Trump wants to get rid of the agency altogether. Oh, I don't know why I read it as Trump wants to get rid of Doge, wishful thinking, but Trump and Doge want to get rid of the IRS altogether. Stupid echo. All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can find more about this person. I'm pretty curious. It sounds like she cooked Elon Musk and Doge. Is there anyone on YouTube? No, not yet. Let's see what we can find. Tracy D. Martini. Um, is probably not the same person. This is the right person. All right, let's do it. So I want to start here, learn a little bit about her, and then we'll go into. Let me test the sound. Make sure.
There's a wide array of disciplines you can choose from: finance, HR, program offices. I happen to work for the Peace Corps, and I can't think of a better mission in federal service. And it's just a wonderful place for people that are committed to helping improve society, commitment to social justice, and just want to make things better. That's where they would want to come as federal
Let's
service.
see. How does this sound? Okay, okay. I'm getting an idea of where she's coming from. Let's check out part two.
So I've had tons of aha moments, but it would be fun to explain that I am one of these folks that never thought I would be in federal service, let alone a chief human capital officer. I came down to DC for a completely other job with the AFL-CIO and ended up
Oh,
working for the
cool.
Department of Labor. My background.
That's another reason that I think Elon Musk probably has it out for her is because Elon historically hates unions. But let's come back to this article and see. Okay. So I don't know that Elon Musk has personally made contact with the person, but it does sound like if they were to be acquainted in any way, that Elon would not like her. But
Is
let's
labor
keep
policy
going. This
workforce
is
development.
interesting.
And over the past 15 years, I've done tons of cool things, from working with the Chief Human Capital Officers Council at OPM and trying to solve the retirement backlog issue, and watching Senator Warner come to OPM to talk about why it's impacting civilians all across the country who want their checks, to serving in Peace Corps. And I was able to go to Ecuador last summer and meet volunteers and then talk to the people that run the Peace Corps offices at 64 posts around the world and hear what they needed from Washington headquarters to make their jobs more effective and impactful. Anywhere you work in a federal agency, there is important and exciting work to be done. And really, anyone that's looking for a career path should consider the federal government.
Hell yeah. Definitely consider the federal government. Let's check this out, though.
Changes, with reports suggesting that up to
Huh.
50% of its workforce could be. The Internal Revenue Service is facing massive changes, with reports suggesting that up to 50% of its workforce could be cut. But amidst all this, one name has been making waves: Trasai Di Martini. The IRS Chief Human Capital Officer is based on Martini. The IRS cut.
I think
But
this is
amidst all
AI.
this, one name has been making waves: Trasai Di Martini. The IRS Chief Human Capital Trasai Di Martini. The IRS. But amidst all this, one name has been making waves: Trasai Di Martini. The IRS Chief
Di
Human Capital
Martini.
Officer has been
Trasai
placed on
Di
administrative
Martini.
leave, and people are demanding answers. Under the Trump administration, major staff reductions at the IRS have
That's
already begun, with over
hilarious.
7,000 employees let go and more expected to follow. The goal? A massive restructuring of the tax agency. But what does this have to do with Di Martini?
Di
Di Martini,
Martini.
known for advocating for IRS employees, was suddenly put on leave by Acting Commissioner Melanie Cross. This unexpected move has sparked speculation, with many questioning
Hold on.
whether it was due to her outspoken stance on internal issues. One person took to social media demanding answers. I wasn't to know why Melanie Cross put DeMartini on admin leave, another speculated. I bet it's because the transcript of the IT meeting was too candid about what's really happening at the agency. Others praised her honesty, with one saying, Trasai is a real one for speaking up. I knew she was on borrowed time the moment I saw what she did. Rumors suggest that Di Martina's departure could be tied to tensions with the Department of Government Efficiency, an initiative led by Elon Musk's cost-cutting team. Some believe she refused to comply with directives from Treasury and other officials, making her a target for removal. With tax season in full swing and leadership in turmoil, these cuts could have lasting effects. A downsized IRS means potential delays in tax refunds and reduced oversight on corporate filings. Let's keep on watching. Will
Okay.
she speak out, or will we ever get a full
This
story? Let us know what you
makes
think in the
me
comments below.
super weird.
Don't forget
Like,
to
I
like,
don't
share, and
know.
subscribe for more breaking news updates.
I don't know how much I trust this. But actually, let's double check. Let's go back and see how she says her name.
I don't think it's a secret. I think that anyone who is committed to public service would want to work for the federal government. There's a wide array of disciplines you can choose from: finance, HR, program offices. I happen to work for the Peace Corps, and I can't think of a better mission in federal service. And it's just a wonderful place for people that are committed to helping improve society, commitment to social justice, and just want to make things better. That's where they would want to come, is federal service.
Tilly Bear! Do you want to pop up on the stream? Come and say hi to everybody. Come on. Don't hop up like that. You're good. Oh no. Oh. Okay. Oh, this is Tilly Bear. She is the sweet YouTuber. Honestly, after the Tilly Bear is calling, I should probably end the stream soon. I just want to find one more thing to talk about, and then I'll probably start doing some editing of the stream, and then just post this as a video. I wanted earlier I had started working on a video essay, but I need to like, really work on the camera setup and get the lighting to look good because the way that it was looking made it sound and look pretty bad. But we'll see. Let's see. Is there anything else that I really want to cover? Is there anyone here on YouTube? Nah. So let's just see. Let's actually finish this article and then I'll pull up something interesting about Musk and then we'll just go from there. Let's just have some fun. The Federal Aviation Administration halted commercial flights at airports in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Wait, it's different. We finished the other article. I am tired. Let's make sure I save this.
This is breaking news from NBC Montana.
Breaking news tonight at 5, the IRS is drafting plans to cut its workforce by nearly half. Right now, the IRS employs roughly 90,000 workers across the country. The layoffs are reportedly part of the Trump administration's efforts to shrink the size of the federal workforce through Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. According to two people familiar to the situation, the layoffs include a combination of incentivized buyouts and attrition. Approximately 7,000 employees were already laid off in February. Stick with NBC Montana for the latest updates on air and online.
Well, it's that time. Have you filed your taxes yet?
That was weird. Don't know why I did that.
I hope you will not be too disappointed because my point of pride is always to give a title and then do something totally different. You know, like here today I will betray myself. I will really talk about what the topic says. It's part of an ongoing project because next year, 2020, will be a quarter of a millennium, 250 years of the birth of Hegel, the German idealist. So this is from the first draft of my book on the provisional title is Hegel in a Wired Brain. What does this prospect of wired brain mean? So not to lose time, let me begin. I will deal here with the prospect of so-called post-humanity opened up by a direct link between our brain and a digital machine, what is popularly called by some people like Elon Musk, Neuralink. My premise is that one should resist the temptation to proclaim the prospect of a wired brain an illusion, something that we are still far from and that cannot really be actualized. I think that in spite of all simplifications and exaggerations in the public media, something is going on in this domain, and I will limit myself to questioning the philosophical implications and consequences of this prospect. Important as the rise of the so-called surveillance capitalism is, it is, I think, not yet the true game changer. I see a much greater potential for new forms of domination in the prospect of direct brain-machine interface. It is clear that all kinds of secret agencies are already working intensely on it. What we learn is just the public face of it. So, the idea of a direct communicational pathway is usually presented as implying two steps. First, that a link between an enhanced or wired brain and an external device, and then a direct link between brains themselves. So first, our brain is connected to digital machines. So what this practically mean, and it may sound utopian, but my friends who work on this are telling me that we are almost already there. Namely this idea that your brain is somehow connected with the computer and the computer can already discern some basic, at least basic, raw, but nonetheless data of what you are thinking about. For example, I was told that when Stephen Hawking was dying in the last month of his life, he was already considering even practicing this type of communication in the sense of, so I was told, he no longer was using his proverbial one finger that he was able to move a little bit. For moving his wheelchair, it was enough for him to just think forwards, and the computer to which his brain was wired was able to discern this sign, and things happened in reality. Then the next step is that the digital machine is just a mediator so that I can, that's the dream, so that I can share directly my experiences with others. I think about something, others can directly participate in my experience. Here, a quote from Elon Musk, who is, of course, not a theorist, but a popularizer. Say you are on a beautiful hike and you want to show your husband the view. No problem, just think out to him to request a brain connection. When he accepts, connect your retina feed to his visual cortex. Now his vision is filled with exactly what your eyes see, as if he's there, end of quote. And of course, what is more logical than to extend this idea onto the domain of sexuality? Again, a quote from Elon Musk. You could save a great sex experience in the cloud to enjoy again later on, and if you are not too private a person, you could send it over to a friend to experience it, and so on and so on. What's the problem? I see here a whole series of
So
problems.
weird.
Open questions. First, uh, it's the implication not only of a simplifier like Elon Musk, but of many other, let's call them theorists of whatever you call it, wired brain or singularity, is this new form of collective spiritual experience, that somehow our thoughts will be directly socialized without the mediation of language. And here, as a philosopher, I already explode. Because the presupposition is that somehow our thoughts exist prior to language. Because first, this is not true even at an empirical level. Maybe we have some sense perceptions which are non-linguistic, even that I doubt. But the moment you think in conceptual terms, you think in words. Words are never just an obstacle. This pseudo-Platonic perspective that words are just a material obstacle, that ideally we should target thoughts directly, is simply false. And this is a nice example, I will talk a lot about this tonight, of this basic Hegelian insight. If all Hegelian dialectics can be condensed, resumed in something, it is precisely this idea that be careful when something appears to you as an obstacle to a perfection. Quite often, what appears as an obstacle is really what gives rise to the perception, to the perfection. Let me improvise, even if I'm eating my own time and I wait for you, Matthew, as my superego, to interrupt me. Then I had a nice personal experience at this level. Did you see the movie, which is a bad movie based on Doctor's novel, I think, Billy Bathgate? When I saw the movie with Dustin Hoffman and, I don't know, Nicole Kidman, I think, and so on, my impression was, this is a bad movie, but you can still feel that there is a much better failed novel behind it. Like, you can somehow,
bad movie.
I felt the greatness
A bad movie, but a much better failed novel behind it.
of the novel behind it. Then I did something which costed me my friendship with Doktorov. Because through some lady who was his secretary, I know that he learned my experience and didn't want to have any contact with me. Because what I then did is the obvious thing. Okay, let's then read the novel directly. Sorry, but my result, maybe I'm wrong, was that it's even worse than the movie. So you see the paradox. You have two failures. Bad novel made into a bad movie. But in between, retroactively, this mirage of perfection arises. It exists nowhere. You don't get this perfect story. But you need it in the space between the two failures. I have another experience of this, which is my favorite, but I apologize in advance if it will appear a little bit sexist. Well, my only excuse is that it is sexist. I long ago at some, I will not say there, it would be too indiscreet, a lady, elder lady, very nice one, was flirting with me quite openly, and she told me that her last lover, who saw her naked, told her that her body is perfect just for 2-3 pounds too much, too heavy. You know what was my instant reaction? Don't try to lose the 2-3 pounds. Because this mirage of a perfect body was emerged precisely, as the reaction to this obstacle. If only you lose 2-3 pounds, you would be perfect. Then you lose 2-3 pounds, you don't get perfection, you get an ordinary body. And this is what dialectics teaches us. See the positive generating aspect of imperfection. See how, and even to reach to the top of the tops, even Marx himself was here too narrow, I think. He saw clearly how capitalism thrives, but on this imperfection, exploitation, surplus profit, and so on and so on. So his dream was to get rid of this surplus, which for Marx more and more serves as an obstacle. But I think Marx's dream was in some sense still capitalism without capitalism. He thought if we get rid of the obstacle, surplus value, capital exploitation, we will get pure expansion. No, we will not. I don't know what we will get, but not that. We need the obstacle. That's my first point. My next question. So again, don't language, of course, it's a clumsy mediator. Like just think about when you love somebody. You say, I love you. It's a bland statement that millions of people probably say daily, but it can echo an incredible wealth of your experience, but don't never think that you can get rid of these words and just get directly at the experience. Next question is about individuality. if we, I think that
Google's
our
captions think Zizek
experience
speaking
with the
Dutch or
symbolic order
something, or
demonstrates
YouTube's
again
captions.
how progress meant till now more alienation. Sorry, thank you very much. Alienation in the sense that new layers get in between. We never communicate directly. First, it's language. Then it's writing. Then it's internet, whatever. And what happens if, that's the prospect of Neuralink, if these intermediate layers disappear and if we get direct communications? Will we, you know what is lost? Now I will, the dimension I'm aiming at is this one. There is a disgusting movie, I hate it, but it has one classical scene. Did you see, I'm so ashamed to mention it here, Four Weddings and a Funeral. You remember when the guy, I don't know, he's a well-known actor, it's just his name slipped out. Sorry? Yeah, when he declares his love to Andy McDowell, he plays this typical English game of getting interrupted, clumsiness all the time, and so on. But of course, the obvious, vulgar, melodramatic lesson is that it is only through this clumsiness and so on that you can somehow transmit authentic love. If you can say a perfect love declaration, something has to be wrong with your love. It's the same even if you go at the opposite traumatic end. Here, of course, I totally disagree with those who, when a woman denounces to the police that she was raped, and then, you know, one of the nasty tricks of the police, at least till now, is to look for contradictions in her report and claim, oh, but you are not consistent, you said this 5 minutes before, blah, blah. Well, I think, and already this is too anti-feminist, but nonetheless, I think I'm making a correct point that precisely I wouldn't trust a woman who would have been able to give a perfect objective report and so on. The very failures in her report, the very inconsistencies, confusions, can signal authenticity. You know, this is a beautiful paradox. Jacques Lacan mentioned it somewhere, that our subjective expression is always a failed one, in the sense that you want to say something, you fail in it, and only through this failure you do it. That's progress. Progress is like, if you allow me a very vulgar theory of French cuisine. As an excuse not to offend French people, I will say that a French guy told this to me, that the mystery of French cuisine are failures elevated into triumphs. French farmers were making cheese, they were lazy, the cheese got rotten and so on, and they said, oh my God, let's sell this as something special. And you get the French cheese. Or they were making wine, and something went wrong, the wine fermented too much, and they said, okay, let's call it champagne. Let's, you know, all the great moments of French food are this. Failure turned into triumph. So again, what happens if you can do it directly, successfully, if this danger of failure disappears? Here we can see, of course, he's not a philosopher, the big fiasco of Elon Musk. When he is asked this question, his answer is, I quote, people won't be able to read your thoughts. You would have to will it. If you don't will it, it doesn't happen. Just like if you don't will your mouth to talk, it doesn't talk. I find this statement totally problematic, because the idea of Neuralink is that precisely the machine doesn't interact with your psyche directly, but with the neuronal or whatever material existence of your psychic life. So for me, the interesting question, if anything, is exactly the opposite one. It's rather, the point is not if my thoughts are shared in some common space of the machine, are they still my own thoughts? That would even be a good result. I see the opposite danger, that your thoughts are shared, but you are not even aware of it. That you are, so the danger is not just I will lose my individuality. The danger is that you will still think that you are a free individual. And this is already confirmed with research. My friends who are deeply involved, I have strange friends, I admit it, into this, told me that, you know, it's an old story of mine. They already can do it for decades with rats. I have a video, which is a pretty terrifying video. A friend of mine who works in a lab doing this cognitive research has told me, where they already deciphered very elementary orders, that neuronal path of how a rat gives orders to its legs to move and so on, to walk, what direction. And then the result is pretty terrifying when they wired in a very elementary way still, this rat's brain. You have a box, you press the button, and to be very brutal, the rat turns into a remote-controlled car. You see a rat running around in a box, you press the button, and you can direct the movements. Now comes the mysterious part my friends didn't want to talk about. But they told me their question was immediately, how would it have been with men? And if you do it on humans, and it's pretty elementary, I'm talking just about these basic orders, move forward, left, and so on, how will a human being controlled in this way, how will it experience this predicament? Will it be that something like, oh my God, now I'm no longer my own master, a foreign power is directing my movements? All the indications, I was told, go in the opposite direction. You don't even know that you are controlled. You think that you are still freely, like, I would advise you to do this. I walk here around, you press your button, you direct me, and I still think that I'm freely walking around. So I think that at this level, the prospects of breathtaking mind control opens up. We cannot even imagine what is going on, what is already going on.
Oh, geez. So what is happening with Musk and Neuralink? Are they really doing like some strange mind control shit where I don't know, that's wild. Between Musk trying to control the culture like he is and his weird ketamine stuff, and then on top of it also having a very strange I don't even know how to put it. It's like a strange fascination with being a king. Is that I think that's kind of where we're going. I know Zizek has talked about Musk quite a bit. So I want to do a little bit more of a deep dive there. How many parts are there to this?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Royal Geographical Society, which I'm very pleased to note is still going strong in the era of Google Maps. A delicious anachronism, a radical piece of conservatism, which is the best venue given the subject matter, the subject of tonight's celebration of Zizek at 75, himself a piece of remarkable, brilliant, marvelous, radical anachronism, a moderately conservative communist, as he calls himself, juxtaposing himself to what I called myself once, libertarian communism, just to confuse both libertarians and communists. You know Slavoj, you know the brilliance that oozes out of his mouth, out of his books. You don't need me to say any of this. But there is an aspect of Slavoj, which I'm sure he's going to hate me recounting, which you don't know. And that is Slavoj as a genuine, loyal friend. Independently of whether he agrees with you or not, we've had clashes, we've disagreed, we nearly hit each other. But I can tell you that behind this facade of the person who is suffering from serious verbal diarrhea and audacity and political incorrectness and all that, behind that facade,
there are two basic needs.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Okay. Honestly, I think that's a sign. I think I gotta end it for tonight. I'm way too tired. But I'm glad y'all joined. It was really nice. If you will, please try to stay vigilant out there and don't get too noided, but be careful.